Hey everyone, Pastor George here. Happy Monday. So what I thought I would do for these next 2 weeks is, or several, could be more than just 2 weeks. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through Tim Keller's book, The Reason for God. And I want to do this in light of what happened with the news that broke yesterday about him getting pancreatic cancer. And I was fishing for a topic and I went, oh my gosh, this is just so obvious that I should just lead a really short mini book series through this thing every day. And if you guys want, you can pick up the book on Amazon, on Kindle, or whatever, and you can go through it with me. What I'll try and do is I'll try and sum up each part fairly well. It's no substitute for reading the book, because the book is much better, and I'll only try and give brief summaries and things of what he talks about. For those who don't know, Tim Keller was a pastor in New York. I guess he still is, but he retired. He moved to New York in the 80s and started Redeemer Church there, and it exploded, and it began planting churches in other places. And he is really, really well known for being able to take difficult concepts and bring them to the public and help people sort through the beliefs that they have. He wrote this book, The Reason for God, kind of in response to a lot of the books that the New Atheists were publishing. So that's Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris and Dan Dennett and Christopher Hitchens. And so I just want to take a look at what he read, or rather wrote, and see if it still holds up. I'm going to be reading through one chapter bit every day, Monday through Friday. So it should take us, I think there's like 16 parts, so it should take us just a little over 2 weeks, or 3 weeks rather, but we'll see. I might take breaks in between just in case anything new or weird happens, but let's get started. So today we're going to do the prologue of the book, and the prologue of the book is just kind of a setup where he talks a little bit about his own journey, what he did in New York, but he also talks about some of the big concepts that he's going to be dealing with. And one of the big concepts that I think we should always deal with is doubt. And doubt is really good because not because of what it does itself, but especially at some point in our walk, doubt is really important, because what doubt does is it allows us to go out there and seek the answers and refine what we believe. And he says that he makes a very good point about why doubt is good for believers, but why doubt for people who do not believe is also a good claim. So I'm going to read that. I'll post it up on the screen here, and then I'll see, you'll just be able to read it with me. So he writes, believers should acknowledge and wrestle with doubts, not only their own, but their friends and neighbors. It's no longer sufficient to hold beliefs just because you inherited them. Only if you struggle long and hard with objections to your faith will you be able to provide grounds for your beliefs to skeptics, including yourself, that are plausible rather than ridiculous or offensive. And just as important for our current situation, such a process will lead you, even after you come to a position of strong faith, to respect and understand those who doubt. But even as believers should learn to look for reasons behind their faith, skeptics must learn to look for a type of faith hidden within their reasoning. All doubts, however skeptical and cynical they may seem, are really a set of alternate beliefs. You cannot doubt belief A except from a position of faith in belief B. For example, if you doubt Christianity because there can't be just one true religion, you must recognize that this statement is itself an act of faith. No one can prove it empirically, and it is not a universal truth that everyone accepts. If you went to the Middle East and said there can't just be one true religion, nearly everyone would say, why not? The reason you doubt Christianity's belief A is because you hold unprovable belief B. Every doubt, therefore, is based on a leap of faith. I think that's a really good way to kind of sum up where he's going to go with this. And he goes into specifics later about dealing with certain issues. What he tries to show is that what many people do, especially in our current age and in the West, this is targeting people in the United States and Europe and things like that, places like that, although it's helpful everywhere, is what it does is it says, when you make these claims, when you say, how can this one thing be true? You're making some claim about there being truth somewhere else, and you have to be able to back that up. And you're going to see he does this with a lot of different things, and he does it really, really well. So I want us to try to focus on when we doubt things, we do make claims. It's not like we're not just positing nothing. We are making a claim. So like when you say, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, you make a pretty big claim there. You start asking what your big claim is, that one, there's good people and that there's bad people. What does that mean? He gets into that a little bit later, right? So that's just another example from besides his. But on the flip side, we as Christians, I think he points out really well, should wrestle with our faith at some point in order to really figure out what we believe. It doesn't mean that you have to be a philosopher. It doesn't mean that you have to argue these things on a level of a pastor like me or someone who's been really, really trained in these things, although you can. Remember, anyone can do that. But you should be able to defend what you believe and know what you believe to the point where you can explain it to people and answer people's questions. And he ultimately roots that in the love of neighbor, which I think is really good. So that's just a little bit out of the prologue. Again, you can buy it on Amazon if you want to read it through me, or read through it with me, or you can just try and kind of get the gist of every chapter every day. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to do part 1, chapter 1. So I will see you then.